So before we can move to the next part of drawing the face, we need to get a grid on a piece of paper. So I have paper, I have a ruler, I have a pencil. I've already cut this paper down into a 9 by 9 inch square. If you do not have a ruler to measure that, we can work on another way to do it. So I'm just going to measure a 1 inch grid. So at every inch, every number and longest line on the ruler, I'm going to make a mark on all sides of the paper. It's a good idea to keep, so if I'm doing what appears to be the top and the bottom, I'm going to keep my paper in the same orientation, because sometimes it just helps me have the same perspective. So like instead of doing this, because sometimes if the paper is cut off a little bit wonkier and now I'm starting with like even a 32nd of an inch off, it's just going to become problematic. So you see that edge is a little bit off, and I think it's just how the paper was manufactured. It could have been how I cut it, but I think it's how the paper was manufactured. So now I have those two. I'm going to do the other two sides. And just trying to make lines that I can see. They're a little bit darker right now than I may usually do, but I need to make sure that you guys can see them. So if it's light, as long as you can see it, it does not matter. And now that I have all of my little marks, I'm going to bridge them across the way. So I'm just going to get my ruler and make lines with the corresponding marks across the paper. Something that seems odd to say and consciously recognize is my left hand is definitely doing more work in this moment, because it's really important that my lines are not wiggly waggly. So I don't want to press too hard on my pencil and then shove my ruler in another direction, which I think most people have done at one point in their life. So just very light lines for your own sanity. Look at this grid, it's coming out so nice. Now, before I can start to transfer my image, I'm going to have to get my image ready on Art Tutor. So here we go. Just messing around with some of the things. 9 by 9 inch. Good. Downloaded. Bam. All right. So I'm going to have my paper. I'm going to constantly be looking at my image. Really, all that I want right now is a contour, which is essentially the art term for the outline. So I can look, if I start in my top right square, I don't even have to worry about it because it's background stuff. And depending on you and what your photo is, you may want to include that, but that entire row on the left, I don't have to think about right now because I'm focusing on Miss Gauze's face. And it's, the best thing to do is really look at where those lines are intersecting on the squares. So if the bottom of her jaw is going through a square on a diagonal, where is it hitting those points directly? How strong is the curve? And just kind of, it focuses down what you're looking at so you can really pay attention to what you're seeing as opposed to what you think you are seeing. There's always a fun challenge when drawing faces because sometimes you just get in your own head about what's there and what's not there. Miss Gars has a nice face. This is a good face. Now this is obviously incredibly sped up, but you're kind of getting to see the whole idea, and you can kind of circle and emphasize things that you may want to pay attention to or darken, like a whole zone. So especially around the eyes, I find it's a good idea to kind of mark what you're thinking. Under the nose can sometimes help me see the contour as a good contour versus what's happening. That's not a face. And then you could just darken some areas. The last step before you start to worry about color is add the shapes overlaid on the face to give you your zones. So I wish you luck, ask any questions that you have, and I can't wait to see what you come up with.